Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron. I hope you're having a great day or night in Jesus. Now, I want to talk to us about a subject that, as a pastor, I've been dealing with for quite a while now. And we're trying to use the power of the Holy Ghost to really crack this code. And it's this: should crowds affect your relationship with God? Should crowds affect your relationship with God? Now, we all know that when a lot of people are doing something, people are pack animals, so to speak, even though I know we're not animals, I'm not an evolutionist, but we tend to imitate. And so there's things that we don't like to stand out in a crowd. And so when a lot of people are worshiping and breaking out, it really lets our guard down and we can really worship expressively in all of this. Now, should that be the case? Because here's what's happening in some cases. This is just an observation, both in my local church and other places. People go to youth camp, for example, morning service, evening service, all this. They come back so on fire, and that is so fantastic, and I'm a big fan of youth camps and those type things. I think they're just great. But what it should do is it should lead us to relationship with God every day, praying, reading the Word, having a prayer closet, and realize God is just as real in our life when we're by ourselves or we're at work or we're at school than He was in those amazing services. Now you might say, well, there's a special presence of God in those services because He inhabits the praises of His people. 2 or 3 gathered in His name, He's right there in the midst of us. Understand all that. But you're the temple of the Holy Ghost. And so it really should not affect your relationship with God in a negative way. Saying this: if you can worship God in a crowd, you should be able to worship God by yourself or in a smaller crowd. Because what ends up happening is people go to youth camp and they get this real big jolt, and at max, within 2 or 3 weeks, most of the time, unless they got just some eternal touch there, which I'm very grateful for, they don't maintain it. So it's maintaining that steady walk with God. Not every place is Acts 2. Sometimes you have Acts 8 experiences. Sometimes you have Philip in the desert experiences. Sometimes you have Paul is in revival. Sometimes he's walking from one place to another. Sometimes he's getting beat. But his relationship with God remains constant. And that's really the big thing, is not having a relationship with God dependent on external factors. If the music messes up, God's still worthy of your worship. If somebody hits the wrong note, God's still worthy of your worship. If your pastor's preaching truth out of the Word, even though it may be boring and dry and dull, God's still worthy of your worship and hearing God's eternal Word and obeying God's eternal Word. So don't let your highs be too high. Don't let your lows be too low. One of my mentors was Thomas Latta, which was Samuel Latta's dad. He had a famous saying: doesn't matter how high you jump, it's how straight you walk when you land. Jesus said, if you love me, keep my commandments. So certain things are inspirational, exhortational, motivational. That's good. But let it motivate you to serve God when difficult times come, tough times come. God's not going to let more come on us than that which we're able to bear, but with the temptation, make a way of escape. Don't let crowds affect your walk with God too much. Because if persecution comes, you may not be able to have a crowd. And your walk with God's got to be dependent on you and Him, not you, Him, and them. You shouldn't love God any more in a crowd than you do by yourself. God bless. I love you. Bye-bye.